Thank you. There seems to be quite a few questions and obviously concerns over the economy. Now, we've got two candidates, and let me put this in perspective. Basically, Congress has, the House of Representatives specifically too, has basically two primary responsibilities. They're part of the legislature, so they write law. And so we've got armies of attorneys that are in the legislature that write law on the other side of the aisle, and that's where we get a lot of problems here. The other obligation and duty and privilege of the House of Representatives, and as well as the Senate, but all appropriations or all spending is done, and that starts in the House of Representatives. It's not the President, by the way. And so I'm going to go ahead and ask the two of you, they have different skills. Really, one is in accounting and finance, and then the other is in law. How would you apply your skills, and what are your primary objectives, and what committee assignments would you like to be on? So that's a broad area, so let's go 3 minutes with this one as well.
All right, I'm guessing you want me to fire away first.
It's your turn, so go for it, yes.
So two-tiered question, where do I want to be and how would I apply my skills? I think obviously one of the greatest places you could be and one of the most influential committees you could ask for is Ways and Means. However, I will accept any assignment I am given, and I will serve and do the very best I possibly can. Because what happens is my vote and my voice are what count on your behalf. Right now, you've got a vote, and a chimpanzee can do that. All you have to do is hook up your computers and tell the chimpanzee how to vote, and he pushes the button. We need a voice in Washington, D.C. I don't actually care who you send to D.C. as your congressman, whether you come from Kentucky or Utah, whether they are a teacher or a policeman. What matters in sending people back to Washington, D.C. is a commitment to the very core to follow the Constitution in every degree possible. And that doesn't take an attorney, it doesn't take a teacher, it doesn't take a policeman, it takes commitment. However, as an attorney, I specifically sought out one school to go to. It was a school that believed in natural law, that believed in protecting life, that believed in advocating on behalf of an original understanding with the Constitution, and in seeking to stop judicial activism. Those are problems in the legal field. They are problems also in Congress. There's another problem. We just talked about lands and the environment. The Supreme Court has continually upheld environmentalist lawsuits and given more standing to take more land out of the hands of individuals, more private property rights, and more land tied up so that the states cannot access them. It helps to understand how and why that has happened, to be able to tackle incrementally the problems that exist. Additionally, we've got to begin to challenge the judicial branch and the executive branch, because they have slowly spread their power into places they should not be, and there's two ways we can readily fix that. One is writing laws to check and balance those other branches of government. The other one is simply to cut their budgets. And that's a tool that Congress needs to use a lot more frequently. Again, you have a great opportunity. You know, our problems, I'm sure when you hear the term lawyer, you could throw in there economist. Fortunately, you don't have a Keynesian economist here. You've got a free market economist, and you've got a constitutional attorney. Those are the kinds of people that we need back in D.C.
Committee assignments. We need somebody that knows a little bit about a budget on the budget committee. I think if I understand correctly, there's a vacancy there. In addition to that, I'd like to be on the Energy and Natural Resources Committee. I think that one of the big challenges is that we have an energy policy that is being set by people that don't understand energy in this country. I think I can add some value there. I want to address the other part of the question as it relates to solving our economic problems. In Washington, D.C., ultimately what we need is a broad range of experience. We need the type of experience that's reflective of the people in our communities, so that our, when we have challenges that are unique to any particular part of our, whether it's our economy or problems that we have experience to deal with it. Right now, I believe that we have an imbalance and of the types of professions that are in Washington, D.C. And one thing today, if you consider our most significant problem, I'll argue that if we don't deal with our financial problems, we will render every other issue in this country moot. That's just the way it is. If we don't reverse course, then all of the values and the principles and the things that we really care about in this country, including our Constitution, will end up moot because we've ended up with a failed government. Now, let me talk about some things that we can do. There are definitely legislative actions that we can pursue, but let me talk about some things that we don't actually have to pass any legislation for that we can do today that will make a real difference in every single one of our lives. The first thing is the government has to stop promoting uncertainty and start creating an environment of confidence. And where that comes from is by stopping the attack on capitalism in this country. It starts with the attack on individuals and corporate and small businesses as it relates to tax policy. Right now, the uncertain tax policy causes people to save capital. We also have a situation where uncertain new regulations, whether it's cap and trade or else the health care bill that just passed, impose uncertain new costs so that people save their money. In addition to that, what we've also done is we've taken our banking industry and we've told our banking industry to lend, while at the same time we've punished our banking industry. Just look what's happening here in Washington County with the two banks, Barnes Bank and also A&B Bank, that have failed. We have scared our banking industry into saving money. And when we preserve capital, we go into capital preservation mode. And ultimately what happens is we don't get investment, and the real economic stimulus in our country